Good afternoon. How are we? Are we all good? Hello. I'm Adrian. I'm right at the back. Quick exit. I can't believe the people stood there not coming to sit down. Right. Over the next 45 minutes, I'm just going to take you through what I call unlimited gym growth. My background's in behavioural psychology, which is irrelevant really, but what's important around that, I understand how and why people buy, what makes them tick, what makes them click, what opens their hearts, what opens their wallets. And I've been doing it for about 20, 30 years. So I'm going to take you through a number of things today that you can take away into your gyms or into your fitness business if you're B2B and utilise to generate more leads, more sales, more revenue, more profit, and squeeze every last penny out of every potential customer. Bit of social proofing, as well as working with about 700 gyms over the last decade or so. I have worked with some of the sort of biggest franchise brands across the globe and some of the biggest fitness-based businesses in the UK. Not to blow my trumpet, just to go, look, what I do works. Particularly take JD Gyms. They came to me with no gyms. They're now 230 gyms and 1 million members. So what I'm going to take you through today really, really works. Works in any industry, but my background has always been, and my love has always been in fitness, so I've got a real affinity with it. My name's Adrian Marks. These are my pronouns. I'm a business owner and seller. I have done what you have done. I built my first gym chain from 0 to 5 gyms, and I sold that to Duncan Bannatyne. I then got involved with a second one, which was subsequently sold to Crown Sports, who then sold on within a short period of time to LA Fitness. So I know what it takes to grow a business. I'm a gym growth guru, according to my mum, so it probably doesn't really count. I'm a dad, I'm now also a granddad, and I'm a ferocious vodka drinker. But that's that. I own an agency called Enjoy, which works with some of the bigger brands we've talked about in and outside the fitness industry. And I also, since the pandemic, provide a coaching consulting business through my team to independent gyms. So that's the introduction out the way. Let's get into stuff that's of interest to you. I promise you 2 things. If you sit with me through the next 45 minutes, you will leave with stuff that will make selling your memberships, your clients, generating business and revenue easier. And the second thing I'll do, if you stay right to the end, I'll give you some free tools that will make that quicker for you. So that's my promise for you today. But let's get into the sort of the detail. So the thing is that you get into the gym business, as I did, out of a passion for fitness or a reason behind that passion. My uncle died very, very young. I was heartbroken. He was fat. He was unhealthy. He died of literally a broken heart. So I decided it's time to do something about it, and that's got me started in this industry a long, long time ago. But what I've realized over the time, there's nothing you can't fix. There's only one thing that will kill it. It's your inability to get and keep members who pay enough money in enough volume for you. That's it. Nothing else you can't fix. Everything else it will take care of. If you generate enough sales in your business day in, day out, at the right profit margins, you can hire who the hell you want. You can invest in whatever you like. You can do whatever you want. You can introduce services, introduce new products. The only thing that is stopping you is the amount of people that you sell and the amount of people that you keep and the money that you charge, i.e. the profit that you make. And keeping members is really, really easy. In the industry, it's called retention, which is really bizarre, because retention, in a psychological sense, is keeping hold of something. It's restraining something. It's about being in a position where you won't let go, which is the opposite of what you should be doing. What you should be doing to keep people is increasing value, is opening up what you offer, is making things easier for them to leave or stay. Because if you deliver greater value than they expect, they will never leave unless they move or they die. They're the only 2 reasons. Everything else is caused by you. And the key thing about value, it's about happiness. Happiness, at the end of the day, is a state that we drop in and out of. But you can decide how happy you want to be. And you can decide how happy you want your members to be. There's a formula for happiness. Really simple. It's this. Not really part of today, but I've gone off tangent already. If your I know how I do this with a clicker and a thing. Let me try this. If your expectation is here, and your outcome is here, guess what? You're happy. Done. If your expectation is here, and your outcome is this, you're unhappy. If you're down here, a psychological phrase called being fucked off. It's as straightforward as that. So you can do two things when it comes to your membership or your own life. You look at the expectation and you deliver above the outcome consistently. To every single member you've got, they will never leave. If they came expecting A and you give them 3A, they're going nowhere. If you promise them A and they get half A, they're leaving eventually. Luckily, we procrastinate. Hence, you get a lot of sleepers and 30% of your membership that's getting that but doesn't leave. And there's two things you can do, by the way. You can lower your expectations in life and therefore lower your expectations for your members. Welcome to the budget gym. It's the only reason it works. You lower the expectation of what you get for £19 a month. But you can charge £1,000 a month if you wish, as long as you deliver that. Straightforward. I suggest you do that without going all Tom Cruise, with me, without me. It's an in joke. I know you get it. Anyway, moving on, I'm slightly aside there. But the greater the happiness you deliver, and happiness is value, by the way, that's all it boils down to, the greater the value, the more you can charge. Because again, if you reverse things backwards, the whole concept, money is made when you create and deliver great value, when happiness is created. Value and happiness is created when you solve a problem, whatever that is. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm lonely, I'm unhealthy. Straightforward as that. And a problem is solved when you remove pain. End of. You don't do anything without pain or pleasure. We'll come to that in a minute. They're the two things that drive why people buy from you and why you buy anything at all. And therefore, it makes sense, the greater the pain that you remove, the more money you charge. Make sense? I shall move on. That is the key to business growth. If you are a price-driven business, you are fucked. Unless your one USP is we are the cheapest. Because some people, not everybody, buys the cheapest of everything. There's a very small amount of people. Who has the cheapest phone on the market? Anybody? I mean, have any idea what that is? Who drives the cheapest possible car they could find? Who wears the cheapest possible clothes that they can see? Nobody. So unless being the cheapest is a really big USP, it is a license to kill your business dead. Doesn't matter what everybody else is doing, by the way. Never focus on your competition. For one main reason, they're probably not making any money at all. 20% of gym owners are flat broke. Another 6% just about break even. 80% you need to ignore. It's the remaining 20%, and it's the 1% you should aspire to. Find those that make a bucket load of money, find out what they do, and then copy that. But they won't be the cheapest. But they'll be offering the greatest value. Right, onwards. I spent 5-10 minutes talking rubbish. 3 ways, 3 steps to a wildly profitable gym business. Interested? Step 1, understanding why the hell anybody should give you money. Sorry, I didn't mean to look at you when I said that. I'll focus over here. Why anybody should give you money, which I'm going to take you through in a minute. And step 2 is an understanding how they do that. What is the process they go through? They're the 2 things. The third one's really simple. Once you understand 1 and 2, you adjust your marketing, your sales and retention to match 1 and 2, which is what today's about. So let's go through. Step one, understanding why anybody buys anything. The problem is, we all think we're relatively intelligent. We're not. We think we're logical. We're not. We don't buy things logically or rationally, never have, never will. We're impulsive, we are stupid, we are illogical and passionate. Yeah? And that's why you buy anything. You can convince yourself logically why you've done something, but it's completely irrelevant. Because you have a buying brain that is emotional, not logical. Without going into too much detail, but your prefrontal cortex, which is make all your clever decisions, pretty much does bugger all. Your little brainstem and your hippocampus, which holds all your memories and all your worries and fears, is what drives your decision making. And that is fueled by what's called your amygdala, which is a little shit. It's why we have road rage. It's why you throw cups and plates at your partner. Again, sorry, I don't know why I'm looking at you every time I go that. I really don't. I do apologize. I'll give you a couple of examples. Who's married? Yeah? So think about this. Why is, in theory, the most expensive dress you'll ever buy you wear once? Unless you're my aunt, who's been married 4 times. I'm not quite sure whether it's the same dress, but that would make logical sense. It's bizarre. From a logical point of view, you wear it for one day. Yeah? And then it goes in the loft. And for 25% of people, it then gets burnt during the divorce. So it makes no sense whatsoever. So let's pick on men. Only 4% of men use a watch to tell the time. If you ask me what the time is, I will look at that. It's 13:58. I've got 32 minutes left. I don't look at this. This just says I'm some sort of astronaut, come pilot, come Italian SAS diver, and a bit of a twat. And Rolex understand this, by the way. Rolex understand this 100%. Rolex have 6% of the sales of the Swiss watch market. 6%. They take 39.4% of the revenue. Because Rolex don't sell watches. Rolex sell luxury. And luxury is valuable. Back to value again. And value costs. And if you want a Rolex, everybody's got a Rolex, not only do they only have 6% market share, you can't buy one. You can't buy a Rolex. You have to wait. And if you want the Daytona, which is a measly £12,000 starting price up to £140,000, you can have one of those eventually if you've bought 3 other watches prior to that at a lower rate from a dealer. That's value. Okay, and there's one more. It sounds a bit sexist now. I've got to be careful in this modern woke age. I'm allowed to do this because of my shoes. But in theory, in America, the average female has 32 pairs of shoes, but only 1 pair of feet. Last time I looked, unless you're from Alabama. So that's how the emotional brain works. First part of it. Step 2 is this. You're only driven by 2 things. You're driven by the need to get the hell away from pain, and you're driven by the need for gain or pleasure. That's it. Everything you ever do is driven by that. The reason you're here is one of those 2 reasons. You think you're missing out, you need something. The more painful something is, the more of a need you have. The more opportunity for gain, the more excited you get. Remember this about value? The bigger the pain you remove, the more you can charge. So when you're walking around the gym showing the members all the wonderful things that you have and all the new kit that you brought, nothing wrong with buying new kit, by the way, but they don't give a shit. It's what can you do for me? And the only way you can answer what can you do for me is tell me what your problems are. Tell me what your pain is. And I can take it away if it's fitness related or health related. But there's a price to that. Going back again, it's all about value. Thing is, you're not selling your products, your services, your knowledge, your skill set. None of that is of any interest to them whatsoever. You need that to deliver what they're interested in, but that's not what they're buying. How much could you charge for a little tablet? Let me finish. That if you took tonight and you woke up in the morning, you'd be 3 stone lighter and trim and feel like a 21-year-old again? How much would you pay for it? It doesn't exist. Ecstasy comes really close, but it doesn't exist. Because you're selling the value of the results that you deliver and how those results make people feel. The product itself and the experience itself is part of it, but it's the value behind it. Okay? Let's take some chairs. I don't know how much people have paid to come today or whether it's free, but there's 2 chairs there. There's a price for those 2 chairs. Not from me. I'm doing this for nothing. But you paid a price for those 2 chairs. So they're just 2 chairs, which have a price. At some point, you go, I'm not paying that, because the value disappears. With me, without me, expectation, outcome. Makes sense? Are you a couple? Can I come? I shouldn't. No, I'm going to play that you are. Oh, you are. Right, okay. So it'll be his fault. You forgot her birthday. Yep. But there's 2 seats left on the front row of, what do you like? Don't say porn. KFC. 2 seats at the front of KFC are going. There's only 2 seats left. Not going to work very well, is it? But you'll pay more for those than the 2 seats there. Same product. Same comfort level. Probably comfier here. Just 2 seats. But how much would you pay for the last 2 seats on the last lifeboat on the Titanic? Same concept. 2 seats. Different value. Different price. So why does that work like that? Why do we do this? Well, like I say, we need to move away from pain, and we need to move towards pleasure. And we do that because of needs. And your needs, I'm not looking at you now, I'm going to pick on, your needs need satisfying, sir. But your needs will be driven by a number of things. 8 things. Survival. Because no matter how good I am, if this place starts to burn down, guess what happens? You run like crap. Agreed? You're not going to say, oh, do you know what? I wonder what's on that next slide. Yeah? Doesn't work. So we have a need for survival. Unfortunately, we also have a need for growth. So those 2 cause a few problems when they combine together. Same with certainty. We love certainty. We love the fact we wake up and we're still breathing. We also love uncertainty. Who wants a loving and connecting and worthwhile relationship? This is where you need to put your hand up. Okay? This is where you don't put your hand up. Who's seen somebody today they would probably shag given half the chance? And you don't put your hand up. I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying you think it. So all this going on. So there's sex. And then there's significance. And there's contribution. Those are your needs and those are your values. You decide which suits you. Your members decide which suits them. But when you then go and buy shit, you're doing it based on this, not logical stuff. You're not doing it based on the product, the service, the skill set, or anything to do with logical or ethical elements to it. You're doing it based on these. And that's what your members are doing. And understanding that when they come in, that they have desires that need satisfying. They have needs that you need to match. So asking them what their pain is and how you can remove it allows you to decide how much you charge. Because the issue, who's got 1 membership price? Hands up. Who's got more than 10 membership categories and prices? 9. The truth is, you only need to promote 1. But once they're in, you should tailor what you offer to what their problem and pain is. If you're providing a service, that's what you need to do. So let's move on from here. So we've established we buy, for want of a better phrase, on wants and needs. And the greater the value that you put on those wants and needs dictates the level of pain or pleasure you have and will dictate the amount of money that you'll pay for stuff. Does that make sense? And that's how selling memberships work. Let me show you this little diagram called the value flywheel. If you want to put your prices up, improve your results, there's only 4 things you need to focus on. 2 flywheels. Outer flywheel, which is a positive flywheel, called the pleasure flywheel, which is about desire. How much do you want it? How much do you want something? And the second most important bit to that is how likely are you to achieve it? What's the belief factor behind it? I'd like to be an astronaut. Ain't fucking happening. I'm too short. So, dead in the water. But you can change belief in achievement for people by guaranteeing stuff, by promising stuff, by saying, this will happen. Because where will you buy from? Somebody that goes, yeah, we do that, or somebody that goes, this will happen. That's why Rolex is going to be so successful. You want to like you've got money? This will happen. There's an inner flywheel where it all gets a bit tits up. I've been told I can't swear today, I've just remembered. Fuck. Right. The inner flywheel goes the other way and they grate on each other, and the inner flywheel slows the outer flywheel down, and it's the time to achieve something. And it's the pain, physical and emotional, involved to get there. If you can reduce the pain, reduce the time, increase the desire, increase the likelihood of achievement, you can charge more. That's why liposuction, let's go back to the 2-stone bit from earlier, that's why liposuction costs $6,000, because it's instantaneous. Hardly any pain, and if it is, it's got in the morning. The likelihood of achievement is a 10. The desire is whatever you want it to be. And it's why budget gym is $19.99. Because it takes longer, there's more pain, physical and emotional, and the likelihood of achievement is less than liposuction, whether you admit it or not. And if you run boutique or small group personal training and any of that stuff, you're charging somewhere in the middle of all that. But you want to increase your prices, you increase the outer flywheel, and you look at how can I reduce the inner flywheel. Make sense? Right. That's why you buy stuff. Do you want to know how you buy stuff? God, this is slow. Let me speed through this. This is how you do anything. Indifference, by the way, is a psychological phrase. It means don't give a crap. We spend a lot of time in indifference. You have something called the reticular activating system at the top of your spine, which blocks out things you are not interested in, that don't do anything for you and aren't of any interest. So, if I said to you, can you feel the chair on your bottom, sir? The answer is yes. You've been able to feel it all the time, but the RAS has gone, that's not of any interest. Now, if that started getting hotter and hotter and hotter, the RAS goes, something's not quite right here, for a number of reasons, some may be medical. So you react to it. But it's exactly the same. You live in indifference in most of the stuff that you do. The minute you become aware of something which is painful or pleasurable, you never go back. So the minute somebody comes into your gym and goes, I'm overweight, I'm unhealthy, I'm worried, they never go back into indifference. The RAS will not let that happen. It'll point everything out. There's somebody like you. There's somebody you want to be like. You should eat this. You should wear that. You definitely shouldn't put that on. Make sense? And when you go from awareness, you then go into consideration and preference. And from preference to intention, and intention you go into action. Or in our world, you buy stuff. And then you have habit, which in our world is people stay longer and pay more money. And what does that look like from a marketing perspective? Well, that's problem aware. You go to solution aware. Then there's us, provider aware. Then you become value aware. Again, now there's value. Now I'm prepared to swap money for it. Now what you offer has to be greater value than what you're charging, not the same, otherwise people won't do it. We don't like losing stuff. And the emotional triggers you go through, you start off with liking something. You're aware of something that fits you and you like it. You go from like to desire, where it gets interesting. But that's not enough, because we're cautious creatures. So we go into need the building of confidence and trust. And then we go into value. Still not ready to buy, but then go to intrinsic value, which is, fuck me, I want that. Don't say that out loud when you look at Dubai stuff, it gets a bit confusing. But that's technically the phrase that your little chimp brain's saying inside. And from there, you want to stay, you need to have an emotional engagement where they want you more than you want them. And that's hard for us because we're desperate not to lose members and we're desperate to rattle the tree. Don't mail them, they've not been in for 3 weeks. Again, wrong thing to do. Maybe painful in the short term, but the long-term thing is they've got to want you more than you want them, because that changes the dynamic of the relationship massively. So that very quickly is how people buy, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute in the next 18 minutes. So let's look at how we add marketing and sales and keeping members in line with what we just talked about. Okay? I'm not going to bore you with this, but this framework I've used with over 700 gyms, I think 758 gyms now, generated 1.5 million members, some of them my own from way back, and we're currently at 1.2 billion in sales. This stuff works, by the way. Really, really works. And I don't care whether you think you can't do it. I've done it in every gym possible, from small group PT to big box, hotel clubs, CrossFit, everything that works. Studios, everything, budget gyms. And we've done it in 7 different languages. We call it the 7-figure gym formula when I present on stage for gyms, because it resonates. It's actually called the Behavioural Selling Model when I'm anywhere else. So part of that is a group of what we call secrets that blend into those areas. Again, they fall in 3 buckets. More leads, better conversions of your sales, and my favourite, shitload more money from the existing people that you've got. And I mean a huge amount more money. So I'm going to take you through a number of things. I'm going to take you through, can you read that? I'm going to take you through a strategy that will give you 5x more leads than you're currently getting if you're not using the strategy already. I'll show you how to increase your sales conversions at point of sale by 50%. And I'll show you something that will increase the amount of money that you're currently taking by up to 100%. Interested? Yeah? Cool. Okay, let's whiz through. As we talked about before, when we do stuff, we're driven by pain and we're just driven by pleasure, moving away from one, moving towards the other one. An interesting fact is we have a number of biases because we can't cope otherwise. And one of the biggest biases is something called completion bias, which means the minute you take one step forward, you're more likely to take a second step forward and a third step forward because you want to complete a process. And you need to use that to your advantage because although it's a physical action, it's also a mental, emotional action. Okay? And the second reason behind it is you can utilize something called compound selling. And compound selling is like compound interest. Nobody gets married on the first day, apart from my aunt. We'll go back to that again. Doesn't happen. And nobody builds muscle on the first workout. So why the fuck are we trying to sell people the minute they put their hand up? Don't get me wrong, a percentage will buy. 3% of people that go, I'm interested in buying, will buy, and they'll buy straight away. But if you market wrong to the other 97%, you're leaving huge amounts of money on the table. So consumer bias allows you to look at this, the how people buy, and go, right, we need to start marketing here. We need to start your marketing at the awareness stage. Now, the thing with the awareness stage is they have no idea what the hell they want. All they know is there's a problem. I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too old, I'm too unhealthy, I've got no love, whatever the things are they're trying to get out of life. So that's how you start marketing. You market to the problem. You market in the awareness stage. You don't market here. Those people will buy anyway. Not saying you put messages of sales in front of them, of course you do. But when you're looking to shake the tree and generate new inquiries and new leads and new referrals and everything else, you start here. And if you use what's called a freemium model or a first steps free or a first step low cost element, you remove fear. The 2 biggest factors in buying stuff are affordability, stroke value, and fear. Will I look a complete knobhead if I buy this? Will it work? Will I get what I want from it? Will I get that rather than that? By offering something free, by offering a first step of the process at a low pay price or free, you'll generate 5 times as many inquiries by that thing alone, by removing fear and getting them in this stage here. So you put in a message out to attract them and you swap something. An email, a phone number, a WhatsApp, whatever it needs to be. Because now you're in control of the conversation. Because they like you here, they don't love you here. They like you. And we need to build desire, and we need to build engagement, and we need to build trust, and we need to build confidence. Well, now we're in control of the conversation. Make sense? So if you introduce a completion bias or a lead generative freemium, first step, low cost, whatever it is, into your business model, your leads will 5x overnight because you've taken away the fear and you've taken the worry of failure. Does that make sense? That's not what you sell them, by the way. When you get in, you sell them whatever the hell you like. But they're not ready for what the hell you like. They just want a little bit of tickling, a little cuddle, a cup of coffee, maybe a peck on the cheek. We're not bedding them over the skips in behind Lidl until later on. As in a sales analogy that you thought you wouldn't hear today. So that's that. Second one. I said to you, more leads, now more sales. If you think back to what we talked about, what will make the difference to people buying is not, here's our rack, here's our classroom, here's our studio, here's all our wonderful equipment, meet Dave, he's got great pecs. None of that matters. The success of your gym and the prices you charge go back to the value equation. Because they link directly to the size and intensity of the pain and the problem that you can remove and the certainty that you'll remove it. So when you're selling to people, that is what you do with them. That is what you say. I'll give you a few examples. No, I won't. I've got another slide. I'll give you a few examples in a minute. Where they are is unhealthy, is fat, is here. Yep. Where they want to be, that's your marketing message. I can change your life. I can make you healthy. I can make you thin. I can make you bulked up. I can find you love. You need to work on those messages a bit. But those are your marketing messages. When they're in and you're closing them, that's irrelevant. They're already here. It's the offer that's key. It goes back to the value equation we talked about. It's about results and removing fear. So you sell the gap. How do you increase the desire? How do you get them excited about what you can do for them? Well, you find out what they want, you tell them you can do it. How do you then increase certainty? You turn around and go, if you don't get this, I'll give you your money back. Here's one example. And to be fair, if you're good at what you do, you should be able to say that every single time. Because, let's be honest, you are good at what you do because you've run a business and you've got members. And then how quickly can you help them? This really goes back to them looking at packages that suit. Because nobody wants the same cookie-cutter concept. Not everybody. Some people want results now. Some people want more attention. Some people want a little bit of an extra cuddle and a cup of tea in the morning. So that's what you deliver. And then finally, how can you remove emotional, physical effort? The effort's got to be put in with what we do. Emotionally, just has to, physically, it has to be. But emotionally, be there for them. A few examples. A couple outside the fitness industry, one within the fitness industry. Piping hot delicious pizza to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. For the Americans in the room. That's Domino's. Built a 4.6 billion business on that one line. They don't do it anymore. Don't know why. Piping hot delicious pizza. Desire. I'm hungry. To your door. No effort. In 30 minutes or less. Time. Or it's free. Likelihood of achievement. One sentence with a hyphen generated £4.6 billion in revenue per year. Here's another one for the Netflix children in the world. Who remembers Netflix when they used to send them in the post? Yeah, okay. This is how they started. Try us through for 30 days. If you don't love us, you don't pay. There's a paradox to this. It doesn't quite make sense. Because ironically, you do try it free for 30 days, and if you love it, you then pay for the 30 days, which is genius if you think about it. I'll take all the risk, but if you love it, you're paying me. Last year, they turned over $36 billion. And we all love Netflix and chill. So how about something like this in your business? Lose up to 2 stone in less than 60 days with our 4 before training model or your money back. That's an offer. It's not a marketing message. That's an offer. So if you come to me, trying to find someone that's really thin before I say this. Come back to your good self. And you'd like to lose 2 stone. I'm not saying everyone else is fat, by the way. She's just very thin. Gets worse. Okay, I can do that for you. I can lose those 2 stone in 60 days. You can use our 4 before trading method. That's another thing I'm not talking about today, but people love mystique. What the fucking hell's the 4 before trading method? I don't know, but I've got it. Or give you money back. Do we have a deal? That's how you sell. That's the irresistible offer. That's how you put that in place. And if you do that, rather than trying to sell the bloody gym and the classes and the facilities, which they don't give a crap about, and if you go, oh, people love our classes and everything else. No, they don't love the classes. They love the environment with them. They love being with other people. They love the engagement. They either sit at the front or sit at the back for 2 different reasons. So that's where you go. Quick ad break. This is what I say to everybody that I work with, whether it's on my coaching business or in my agency. you get a 10x return. Straightforward. You get it in 90 days or less, or I just give you every penny back. Deal? How can you say no to that if you're seriously interested and have a level of desire? I've added certainty, I've reduced time, and I'm doing it all for you. Anyway, on to the next bit. Tying all that in, purchases are made on value and affordability, not price. Price is absolutely irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. Who's got an expensive watch? Anybody? Just me, the only twat in the room, right, okay. Think about anything you buy that's expensive. Price is irrelevant. You'll find a way to buy it. DFS have built a phenomenal business on it. 50% sale every weekend for 9.5 years. Yeah, and Sunday. Does it bugger? It's back on next weekend. A different psychological trait altogether. But the irony about that is the percentage of people that buy the 50% off sofas, 11%. The marketing message was one thing, the actual physical sales and the offers in place, you buy what you want, not what is the cheapest. Now, you can't afford it, it's slightly different. Hence DD. Or you can nick it. Not advocating stealing, but you can nick it. It's all on value. The whole thing is value driven. They want this, you deliver that. They come in looking for that, you promise that, and more. And they will pay. Because Joe down the road is just going, oh, look at my dumbbells. Look at the size of my rack. They don't care. They don't care. Now, you can argue, well, people that want to bulk up and everything else is important. No, they want to bulk up. If you said to them, just run on the table for 10 minutes and eat this bar of chocolate and you'll bulk up, they'll do it. Doesn't work, by the way, so don't offer that as an opportunity. Price is irrelevant. That's where your sale is made. Irresistible offers, remove the fear, increase the desire, increase the likelihood of achievement, remove any time barriers for them, and ultimately try, if you can, to remove the effort involved to make that decision. And you'll increase your sales by 50%. I guarantee it. If you look at what you're currently doing, if you're not doing that, it's not enticing, it'll be relatively crap. I apologize, but that's the truth. From the hundreds, if not thousands, of gyms I've been into. And this is my favorite one. Oh, I've got 5 minutes. You can double the amount of revenue that you take from your existing members without selling anymore. And I'm talking revenue, profit. If you're making 20% margins, that means you can increase your profit by 500% with this one strategy. It's called squeezing the sponge. It's about not leaving any money on the table. There's something called proportional bias. And proportional bias means you have a proportional attitude to certain things. If you are frugal, you will look for price savings. There is no two ways about it. But I will work on you. One of my clients was the most frugal man on the planet. Not anymore. I've worked on him. But a proportion of people will pay whatever you want them to pay. I am serious. If you charge £20 a month, introduce a £5,000 retreat for a weekend. 1% of your members will take it. Charge £20 a month, introduce them for £400 or £500. 4 or 5% of your members will take it, as long as you're adding value. I'll give you some examples. Now, if you're selling a product, B2B, still works. Service, great. Access, different levels. Product, service, access. The higher you go up there, the more you charge. My coaching business, I speak to people once a month. It costs here. My agency business, service-driven, they see me more often, it goes there. My personal clients, at 100 grand a year, and I'm not being funny, I'm just giving you that as an example. I have people that pay me 100 grand a year, and I see them and speak to them either virtually or face-to-face once a week. But it's about value. Because if they're paying me that, what they're getting back in return. I've taken one client from 140 million 7 years ago to what's going to be about $250 million, 250 million this year. Again, not trying to blow my own trumpet, because I've got a bad back. But I'm going to give you an example. So, money on the table method is this. I'm going to take an airline like Emirates. Outside the industry, I'm going to pull you back into the industry. So Emirates fly all over the world, yeah? The A380 goes from Manchester to Dubai. You could squeeze 740 economy seats on there if you wanted to. They charge about 500 and, what did I put there, £502 when I checked last week to go backwards and forwards, return flights. That's going to give you 371,000 for a plane. But they don't do that because they understand proportional bias and they understand the 1%, 4%, 14, 15% and the 80%. So they do this. Economy stays at 502. Business class is 2992 return flight. First class, 4609. Look what it does to the money. 531,000. There's less passengers, by the way, which means there's less baggage to check in, which means the plane is lighter, so there's less fuel, so the costs are coming down and the money is going up. And this is what's called squeezing the sponge. And the numbers get nuts. That's 139,000 extra pounds per flight. That thing goes backwards and forwards to Dubai 4 to 6 times a year, depending on when it goes backwards and forwards. So it's £36 million a year for one route. These fuckers are in the air all day. They've got about 140 planes. What does that mean for me? It means this. I'm going to choose a budget gym as an example. Doesn't matter whether you budget, small group PT, high-level PT, country club, you can get this to work. You either go up the scale or you go down the scale. I'm going to round this up. So if you leave money on the table, you're charging £19.99. But if you had small group PT in, you're now squeezing the sponge. If you think, you know what, we're going to one-to-one results program, you lose 2 stone in 60 days, it's going to cost you 500 quid, but I guarantee the outcome, or you'll get every single penny back. The numbers are phenomenal. Because the money on, I've rounded this up to make it easy, by the way. The money on the table model is this: 2,000 members at 20 quid a month is 40,000 a month. Not bad, but that's your top line revenue. You add these numbers in, and they're talking small numbers. We're going to leave 1,825 still paying 20 quid a month. But can we get 30? 30. 1 and a bit % to go, do you know what? I'm a bit lardy. I'm a bit unhealthy. I need a bit of help. I'll take that if you guarantee the money. That's going to bring you in £14,970 a month. A month. Stick it in the middle. Budget gym, introduce a small group PT, or do something which is £199, whether that's ongoing, whether that's just 1 month. Again, doesn't matter, the numbers crack up. 28 grand. £28,000. 80,325 quid. You have doubled the amount of revenue in your business for the same amount of members by doing pretty much bugger all apart from increasing value and providing better service. That is it. 100%. Even if you could only do half of that, it's 50%. If you could do a quarter of that, you're adding 25% additional revenue. You know what your profit margins are. What does that do to your profit margins? It's 40 grand a month extra, £484,000 a year. One club. You've got more than one club, this starts to ratchet up phenomenally. Okay, right, running out of time, so I'm going to quickly whiz through those things there because I want to show you something. The beauty of this final bit, by the way, is phenomenal because the money you take up front funds your ever-increasing flywheel of marketing. Because the extra 40 grand or 20 grand or 15 grand you put back into the front of the funnel and you fire that thing up like a rocket. And it keeps going and going and going as long as you want it to, until your club's full and you want to open another one. So that's me done. Listen, I promised Rob that I would put something in at the end for free, which I'm doing. Rob's going to get off the stage again. I'm doing well. I'm normally here 4:30. You know that. You know that. Bear with me. So, and you've asked for this one, so you can't throw me off now. If you text that number, as one of my team, I don't know who it is, but text that team, I'll give you a number of things. I'll give you a free copy of our playbook, 7-Figure Gym playbook. It's this and more. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of content. Rob's convinced me to give you a ticket to our next boot camp, normally £1,000. Our clients get it for free. You want it, you come along. The only caveat to that, a bit like Netflix, if you don't turn up, you pay for the day. So if you want to come, be serious about it. And if you want a free call, I'm happy to do it. And then finally, on top of that, if you want to work with us for 6 months for free, scan that code. If that doesn't work, 'cause I'm not sure if it's going to be bright enough, got one of my girls outside on the back there. I'm around all afternoon, people want to chat. I hope you found that really, really useful. But 2 things, increase your value, put your prices up, and make some money. Thank you.